and welcome back from spring break. Here with another episode of SCTV3, I'm Bri Hill.
And I'm Alex Thomas. Here are tonight's top stories.
Pride Athletic Advisory Committee, also known around campus as PAC, is a group of student-athlete representatives from each varsity team of Springfield College with the goal of providing a voice for student-athletes around campus. The group meets once a month and features a Pack the House event for every team. These are important conference meets, games, or matches that the team would like to see more student support at. PAC provides extra game advertisement for the event, as well as supplying free t-shirts, water bottles, and other incentives for the first 100 students to show up. On Thursday, April 18th at 8 p.m. in Blake Arena, PAC will be hosting Pride's Got Talent, a talent show open to all Springfield College students and faculty. Sign-ups close tomorrow, Friday, March 29th. PAC asks you to save the date, save $1 for admission, and also spread the word. Find out which two SC football players will break it down to Justin Bieber.
Well, that sounds like it'll be pretty interesting, Bri. And speaking of entertainment, here is our very own Cassie Lynagh with more.
Thank you, Alex. This week making top entertainment news. It's been confirmed just today that Demi Lovato will be returning as a judge on the X Factor's third season. Simon Cowell stated that he'd be crazy not to have her back. Demi can't wait to be back on the show as well. She said she looks forward to taking her previous experience and applying it to make this season even better. X Factor's third season will air this fall on Fox. As for now, season 3 auditions will continue in New Orleans on April 14th. The famous Madame Tussauds Wax Museum added a new celebrity to its London collection. The former Harry Potter star Emma Watson's wax figure was unveiled on Tuesday. The figurine took months to make and was amongst the most requested by fans, along with One Direction. Watson's wax statue was wearing a black Eli Saab dress with her hair tied up, showing the star's earlier style. The popular brand Victoria's Secret Pink made headlines this week when upset parents accused the company for targeting pre-college age girls with their slogan, "Bright Young Things" for their new spring break line. The company faced all sorts of backlash, with people accusing them for portraying teens as sexual objects. The company stated this was not the case and that Pink has and will always be a brand for college-age women. Instead, parents should take the initiative to make sure what their kids are wearing is age-appropriate and not blame it on retailers. And for those of you who are fans of the Scream movies, you will definitely want to pick up a copy of the new novel titled The Face of Fear by author R.J. Torbert. The novel is based off the famous movies and character Ghostface, but this time the setting is Long Island, New York. It tells the story of an unexplainable kidnapping that continues into a series of horrible events that not only shakes the small town of Port Jefferson, but the reader as well. R.J. Torbert has been associated with the history of the mask since 1996 and giving it the name Ghostface. For those of you wanting a copy, they won't be available in stores till May 7th, but you can head over to powersandjohnson.com and pre-order your copy, which will be shipped immediately. That's all for this week's entertainment news. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Cassie. As you may or may not know, student registration is now upon us. We can all remember back to our first time registering, the stress of going through which classes to pick, the exciting ones, or signing up for new and different classes. Well, to help with this stress, we sent some of our own reporters out to get tips and opinions on how to deal with registration. Let's see what they got.
As spring has arrived, many students here at Springfield College are preparing to sign up for their fall 2013 classes.
The registration process begins with first meeting with your advisor so that you can be granted registration clearance. You would meet with your advisor to go over courses you would need to take for your major and for the general education program. You can use your degree audit as a resource for this, and also the sequencing guides that can be found on the registrar's page on our Springfield College website.
Students are now setting up meetings with their advisor in the next couple of weeks to make sure they have everything on track.
Graduation's always an exciting time because you're talking about not only another semester coming up, but a semester concluded. And that always means that it's a chance to reconnect and to kind of refocus on the students' personal goals as well as their academic goals and their professional goals. I mean, it really is a nice reset and a good chance because we get caught up in the 15 and a half weeks of the semester, sometimes just taking a breath and realizing the paths that we've already traveled and the path that's ahead. I love it.
Students who have already met with their advisor are now just waiting to register. There are also a couple things you can do to be more prepared.
advisor, you would want to go onto your PrideNet account and go to the My Profile tab and then My Registration on the left-hand side, and then go to Course Search. And then you want to search for all the courses you and your advisor discussed and look up specific days and times that work for you.
It's always great to have an advisor that has a creative plan for you ahead of time.
Maybe it's the sports nerd in me, but I always liken it to fantasy drafts because I know that's the one thing that I can really relate it to, the idea of coming up with a plan, but then also recognizing that very rarely, as in with a fantasy baseball, football, basketball, hockey, NASCAR draft, that very often your ideal plan doesn't come through. So it's important. I think it's a great life skill to also have, to be able to formulate an ideal plan, but then recognize that at some point one of the maybe even the pillars of your plan might not come through, and you have to quickly construct something else, and to not let the game kind of get too far away from you before you can reestablish. So the more plans you can have, A, B, C, D, subset 2, however you want to term it, is the main thing that I preach.
Students continue to do their work as the end of the year comes close and prepare for fall classes as well.
Just say I'm glad this is the last year that I have to do it. Waking up early is not exactly fun, but I do like the new system they have in place with Moodle. Before it was one of those deals where you had to choose every class individually, and there's sometimes it took a long time, the system would back up. Now with the new thing, how you can do multiple ones at once, plug in all the numbers real quick and just select it, makes it a lot easier. You just wake up 5 minutes and you're done for the most part.
For SCTV3, this is Greg Fitzpatrick and Jordan Carnes.
Yeah.
Best of luck to everyone signing up for their fall semester courses. Pope Francis washed the feet of a dozen prisoners, including young women, at a youth detention center in Rome as part of a Holy Thursday Mass ahead of Easter. The Pope poured water over the young offenders' feet, wiped them with a white towel, and kissed them. The act of foot washing at the Mass of the Lord's Supper is part of the Christian tradition that mirrors Jesus' washing of his disciples' feet. The Casale del Marmo Center houses close to 50 inmates who range in age from 14 to 21. Those who had their feet washed were chosen from different nationalities and diverse religious backgrounds. 2 young women were included in the rite. Francis' decision to celebrate the Mass with young offenders at the Casale del Marmo Center represents a break with tradition, but is in step with his record in embracing simplicity and humility. Francis was installed as Pope 10 days ago, having been elected to fill the shoes of Benedict XVI. Since taking on the role, he has focused on a message of helping the poor and the needy.
As you may have noticed, this year's winter has been a little extended as we're still within 50-degree weather and it's the end of March. Many people around the U.S. have put the blame on Punxsutawney Phil, the groundhog in Pennsylvania that determines whether winter ends for an early spring or whether winter will continue on for 6 more weeks. This past Groundhog's Day, we were informed that Punxsutawney did in fact see his shadow and that we could expect winter to end early for the spring season. However, the weather patterns have shown us different. A few of our reporters set out around campus to get feedback on this difference. Let's take a look.
February 2nd, also known as Groundhog's Day, is when our friend Mr. Groundhog comes out and tells us if there's going to be an early spring or 6 more weeks of winter. On February 2nd, 2013, our friend Mr. Groundhog told us that there is going to be an early spring. But as many of us here at Springfield College can see, it is not that way. It's still been chilly and we've been experiencing some winter weather. Well, I got some interviews around campus with students and staffs to find out just what people expect from Mr. Groundhog and what they have been seeing so far this spring.
I don't really think about Groundhog Day too much. I don't really put too much stock in a rodent predicting the weather.
Although spring was a few days ago, the weather still feels like winter. Why do we become so dependent on the groundhog when we really should be questioning his motives?
Well, here's what I don't get. Every February, America decides that we're not going to trust meteorologists, and I kind of agree with that. A lot of times they're wrong. So what do? Do we look at a supercomputer that connects with a satellite up in space? No. We're asking a groundhog what the weather is.
As far as Groundhog's Day, I think it's a creative event, just to get people in the mood for spring. But you can't really go off Groundhog's Day sometimes because obviously it's still cold here in Massachusetts and spring hasn't sprung yet.
The Springfield faculty and students are hoping for warmer spring weather in the future. Now back to Candace.
As you can see, the weather is very unpredictable that not even a groundhog can predict it. Hopefully, April brings warmer weather and some sun. We all know the saying, April showers bring May flowers, but hopefully not too many showers. Reporting for SCTV3, I'm Candace Tibbetts.
Well, we can't predict weeks in advance as Puxatawny Phil tried to, but we can, however, let you know what kind of weather you can expect for this upcoming Easter weekend. Here's Candace Tibbetts with your weekly weather report. Candace?